Hello and welcome. I'm Lisa Rangel with Chameleon Resumes, the premier executive resume writing company, and thank you so much for joining me today. Today we're going to talk about the observed difference that I see and my team sees in the 50-year-old plus job seeker versus the 50-year-old plus job lander. And there's a difference. And, I know this is a touchy subject. Yes, we are going to talk about ageism in the job search. And, this is a topic, near and dear to my heart. I have felt ageism. I've experienced ageism. I just turned 52, and I've probably felt it on and off for, a good 6-7 years, if I'm being transparent. And I'd like to believe it's not happening to me, because I'm so fabulous and all the things I try to tell myself. But, it happens, and it exists wholeheartedly. And none of what I'm about to say today is in any way, shape, or form here to dismiss if you've felt it, if you've experienced it, or to say it doesn't exist, because that's absolutely not true. Your feelings are true, your experiences are true, and it absolutely exists. With that said, we all need to work, right? So we can't let it get in the way. And, as long as people are in charge of a hiring process, I think inherently it'll always be there. None of us are robotic, and we often complain about, are robots running the hiring process, which we all know is not happening. But we don't want robots running the process either, right? Like, so as humans running the process, even if they're programming systems to help them do the search or help them identify candidates or, whatever the case may be in a volume basis, it's still run by humans. And as long as humans are in the process, we are going to have some bias. So how do we do this? How do we get past it, overcome it, move through it, whatever phrase you want to use, because again, we got to work. And that's, we want to work. And so that's the goal here today is like, what's the difference? And one observed difference that I see and my team sees and it's a huge difference, and it's really the one thing I'm going to talk about today, is the job landers talk to people. The job seekers tend to want people to reach out to them. And so I should probably be clear. The job landers do more outreach and initiate the conversation. Don't wait for people to come to them. And the job seekers will tend to wait or want people to reach out to them. Even if they're commenting on LinkedIn or doing some nice little interactions, they're not actively asking for the meeting, for the chat, for the conversation, for the coffee, meeting. They're not putting themselves out there in a what could be risky kind of way. And here's the thing, like, when you have been recruited, promoted, sought after your whole career, when you have worked at your desk and not gone out to lunch and stayed after work, or, even if you're working from home, not got up from your desk to eat, all that stuff can exist at home too, right? Where you're just a little bit of a workaholic. If you've done that, hustle your whole career, and as a result, your reputation has preceded you for most of your career, and you've gotten used to things coming to you. So I don't fault you for it. I just want you to be aware that it happens. It's happened to me. And sometimes that stops, right? Sometimes that people coming to me thing stops. And so the key here is, and this is sort of the awakening I want to have with those of you that are, over 45, over 50, looking for jobs, and you feel stuck. Here's the gut check question. Are you doing active asking for the meeting outreach? Or are you sort of floating around conversations, sort of floating around, LinkedIn activity, sort of floating around conferences, even virtual or in person, and just hoping things happen, right? You can be busy too. But the gut check is, are you actively asking for the conversations? Or do you have a set amount of conversations you want to have each week in a form of a metric that you want to hit? Do you have a metric of how many outreaches you want to do, knowing that everyone's not going to get back to you? So do you have a certain amount of activity that you want to do outbound, knowing that you will eventually get some responses back? So this, to me, what I see and what my team sees is a massive difference between the job landers and the job seekers. And frankly, this is at any age. But I think I'm talking particularly about those of us over 45 because, we have had a record of achievement. We have had a track record. And so we do get accustomed to, and I don't say this I say this with as little ego as I can say it, right? We've just become accustomed to people responding to the work we've done, right? We've built a reputation for ourselves. But honestly, sometimes that reputation doesn't precede us. It's awesome when it does, right? But sometimes it doesn't. And the times in your life when your reputation is not preceding you, right? I'm looking you in the eye. Here's the gut check. Are you willing to do the legwork? Are you willing to do the outreach so you can shift that back to being in demand? That's the gut check, right? Or are you going to stay hoping people find you? And, and look, this isn't meant to be negative. It's not meant to be harsh, but I'm telling you, as someone who has had ebbs and flows, highs and lows, demands, being in demand, not being in demand, on and off through, my career, it's sometimes you just got to look yourself in the mirror and just look yourself in the eye and go, all right, it happened. What am I going to do about it? And you got to start sort of building it back up again. I'm going to talk to 10 people. I'm going to reach out to 10 people today. I'm going to, reach out to 15 people today. I'm going to make sure I have 15 quality conversations this week, whether I got to reach out to 60 people, 30 people, or 17 people, whatever it takes, I'm going to do it to make sure that I just hit the camera there. Sorry. I'm going to do it to make sure I hit a set metric, and so that's the key here is, are you going to do what it takes to just get it reinvigorated again? You will get it back. You will get it back. And even without the in-demand feeling, you are absolutely enough and you're still awesome. You just need to be more active about telling people about it. That's all. It happens. It happens to all of us. It happens to everyone. You're either your name's in lights and then some days your name's not in lights, right? And sometimes there's a newer, younger person that comes along. And sometimes you outshine them anyway, right? So it's just what happens. It's the ebbs and flows of business. It's the ebbs and flows of life. And we are, we're simply embracing our humanity when it happens to us. So I ask you to do that. I ask you to still see that you're awesome. And now you just got to shift gears where you maybe need to do some more legwork to just make people know. And that's all. So, but if you genuinely still feel that it's ageism that is your problem, then I'm going to, suggest you go to the link below and explore the program that I'm running on ageism, where I'm going to work with a small select group of people and help them through it. And so, feel free to explore if that's right for you. Just simply go to the link below. But use this video as the minimum to sort of coach yourself through it. And then if you find that you're still struggling and need more help, then know that I'm setting up a small group to tackle it. So, and you can go through that link below to get there. So anyway, again, I'm Lisa Rangel, Chameleon Resumes. I look forward to your input and your responses on this. Feel free to like the video if you like it. If you know someone who's struggling with this and you think they'll benefit from this video, feel free to share the video, and I'd be so grateful if you did. Subscribe to the channel so you do not miss next week's video. And if you have any questions or comments, you can add the comment below or email me at lr@chameleonresumes.com. I read and reply to every comment and every email. I pride myself on it. And I really enjoy and value each and every one of you that take the time to watch this. So thank you so much and have a great day.